Good noon, everyone. Did you get my comments provided on the summarization in Canvas? Is there anyone who didn't get, or I missed it? Hi. If you have any question on the comments, you can perhaps email me or write there in Canvas where I've commented. There should be an option where you can recommend on my comment. There could be any confusion or you might have any query, because every time we might not allocate time in class to respond to everyone's comments. So it's better if we use Canvas for that purpose, and we can utilize the time in class in some other things. So that's the first thing I was about to say. Always follow up the comments and the feedback that you get in Canvas. Secondly, where we left yesterday, I'll pick it up from there, and then we'll move on to today's slide. And everything is in Canvas about today's class. Today we'll talk about thesis statement. So how do we write thesis statement? Where and why we should write it, and where should we use it? In which section of my paper I'm expecting to use thesis statement. So that's the topic. But before moving into that, a few queries that we didn't resolve yesterday. For instance, someone might have asked, so what should be the exact balance of citations or too much data, right? So how do we handle that? So for that purpose, lecture 3B, the slide on citations, if you look in the previous module, not today's module, it's on yesterday's module. So here you would see too much quotation has some negative impact, first of all. Why? Because it will not maintain the flow. There is a smooth, cohesive flow, and that can only be developed when it's your voice. When it's someone else's voice, but you're not paraphrasing, you're quoting, let's say, too much quotations will not be maintained in a very smooth flow. That the main reason is you're picking something from somewhere. When we write a paper, we do not summarize the whole paper. We summarize what we need. So let's say you need this point, that data. You only pick that up. Now, when you're merging all those scattered pieces, it will not look like a solid color building. You know what I mean? Because the bricks are from different places. So all those bricks, when you put in one place, then the building would look in a very different postmodern artsy item, but not a paper. It will not have the exact flow that was in the original papers that you studied. Make sense? That's why we paraphrase and summarize. So too much quoting is always bad. So we cannot double quote that much. That's why we summarize and paraphrase to maintain the flow. So when we are maintaining the flow, that means we are careful about our leads. I commented on a few summarizations. What do we mean by leads? The subject that you are creating. Every sentence has a subject to lead. That defines what the sentence is about, even before I reach the end of the sentence. We'll practice more and we'll get there. In many comments, I have said the lead perhaps is non-cohesive. Like you are bringing something else, and I don't know what you're leading, where it's going, and many summarizations were really fine. You all are great students, so be happy with that. Awesome, really, I liked it. The first draft, it was impressive. Yet I have few comments, and also read your peers' comments. I forgot to mention that. Because when everyone has different perspectives, and it's good to know all the perspectives. So your classmates, peers commented also in class. Do follow that as well. So let's get back. I'll not go in detail about citations here because every discipline has different citation formats, as I said. So what should we do when we quote? We exactly quote when we need to quote. And we only quote when we cannot change the words. The words might be too metaphoric, too exact, precise, or if I change it, I'll ruin it. It's that beautiful that if I change it, I'll ruin it. In that case, we quote exactly. Otherwise, it's always encouraged to summarize and paraphrase. The best way of citation is summarize and paraphrase. So we cite in three ways. We quote, we summarize, or we paraphrase. Quote is should be used as less as possible because it will ruin your sentence flow. Make sense? A few examples are there. And also I have provided the library links, our Hesberg library links, where you'll get all the citation formats. If you do not know your discipline, if you do not know, you can meet the librarian. And if your discipline is follows APA, MLA, my discipline follows MLA, many scientific journals or discipline might prefer APA, and also there are other formats. I didn't write, Harvard has its own citation format, I didn't write that. Here. So there are various formats. You can look into the sites. Also Purdue's Writing Center site is also very helpful. So either Hesberg's or Purdue's library guides will guide you totally about citations, whether in-text citations, work citations, and references. All good? A few examples that I've shared. In many of the comments that I provided yesterday, we do not have these kind of leads, like XYZ suggested that, someone encouraged that. And when we do not have these leads, I might get confused as a reader that you are saying it or you're summarizing it. You know what I mean? It's your opinion or it's the person's opinion. That should be very clear. So in most of my comments, you would see which one is your voice and which one is author's voice. Make it very clear. If it's your voice, then we have a way of addressing your voice. And in the first module also provided a phrase bank website link, if you remember. That's in the first module. You'll get other styles of expressions, linguistic expressions, vocabulary that you need to use. And we'll practice more, don't worry about that. Just giving you some heads up what the way I commented. So that's when I mean lead, I mean this, the way you're leading your sentence, every sentence. So this is one way when we mention the person's name in the lead, right? For instance, yesterday we did an article. So we have both ways. You can place the subject, the topic as a lead or the person's name as a lead. For instance, the AI article that you performed, we only have one author. So we don't need to bring multiple leads every time. We don't have multiple authors. But from the book, the unpleasant sound methodological analysis literature review that we performed in class, we saw multiple leads there, multiple persons. And then we do not bring always person's name in the beginning, by the way. It becomes non-integral in that case. Non-integral is, for instance, here. So the lead is like this here. Scholars suggested that, right? Or let's have a look at the next sentence. These guidelines include, we don't have the person's name in the lead. The person's name are in parentheses in the citation format. Confusion? Because if you have multiple persons, we don't need that. But yes, in the AI article, we only have one lead. So I'm assuming you are always referring to one person. Makes sense? In multiple leads, you'll not maintain the flow if every sentence starts with, he suggested that, he emphasized that, he argues that, he believes that. If we have this format, it will not be fluent in terms of writing. Make sense? Because every time the topic, what you're trying to express, make that your subject. That's what I'm saying. Not who said, but what is said. Make that your subject. Oh, good? Yeah? Sometimes who said is important. So let's get back here where we left. For instance, here, the agent is important, right? We can see the person's name here. Let's assume that the agent is important. So what's the difference between past simple and past perfect? There was a confusion, right, Shravan? Mm-hmm. So you said, so let's say action 1, action 2. We have 2 actions. Only then we can use past perfect. Do we know what is past perfect, by the way? Let me just brief that. We have 12 tenses in English, in active. In passive, we have 12 more. This is not a grammar class. We'll have a grammar class, by the way. As I'm referring to this one, so I'm just giving some heads up. Oh, good? Don't worry if you have forgotten or you need to brush up your grammar. That's okay. That's what I'm saying. In the module lesson plan, you'd see we have a grammar syllabus, and we'll talk about the whole grammar part possibly in that class. Okay? So we have 12 tenses in active and 12 tenses in passive. How? Can anyone say that? So in present, we have 4 tenses. In past, we have 4. In future, we have 4. That's how 12 active. That's how 12 passive. This is the structure. Structurally, we have 24 tense structures in English. So in total, you have the verb. When we talk about tense, we mean the verb. The main verb. So the main verb has 24 structures. How? In present, we have present simple, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Past same, past simple, continuous, perfect continuous. Future same, future simple, continuous, perfect continuous. So there are 4 in each. Present, past, future, 4 structures. We all know about it? It's fine. We can brush it up. It's fine. So let's come back to what we're talking about. 2 actions. When we have 2 actions and one is past simple means V2, the second form of verb. Verb has 3 forms, like water has 3 forms. Solid, gas, right? And ice. Similarly, verb has 3 forms. V1, V2, V3. Like do, did, done. Okay? So when we have 2 actions, one is past simple. V2 means past simple. Then the other will be the earlier one. I had gone to the movies before watching the football, or before I watched the football. Let's put it that way. So there is a before-after situation. That's what I mean. You know, something happened earlier. Then you use had plus V3, which is past perfect. Otherwise, no. Got it? Yeah? We don't have 2 actions here. If it's only one past action, well, V2 form, simple past. Investigate. Because something that was done earlier, something that was done in the past. Now, when we use present perfect, for instance, the next ones, yeah. So now we have or has, depending on the singular or plural, been plus V3, which is passive. So that's why I'm saying 12 in active and 12 structures in passive. It's a different structure now. Structurally, if we divide, so there are 24 10 structures. So to have been V3, which means have been investigated. Why? I'm using present perfect. In this particular sentence, or this one, several researchers have studied. This is fine, the causes of delay are complex. When we don't have a time mentioned, or the verb is not something that indicates something was done yesterday or earlier or 10 years ago, we do not use past tense. If we have a time mentioned, we use past tense. Present perfect means I'm focusing on the activity, not the agent. There's a difference, agent and activity. Do we get it? For example, one. So it's an agent here as a subject. It's not an activity as a subject. Make sense? The difference?
Okay. You said like when time is mentioned, then you use past, otherwise you don't use.
Or when there's an agent mentioned. Because he did it in 2007, long ago. And the subject is not this. This is also done in 2004, but this is actually right now I am using it. Because the activity is important here, not the agent. Now you got the difference? When we mention as a subject the agent, we use past simple. Then we cannot say he has investigated. That doesn't make sense. That you can say about yourself, about your team, if you want to use present perfect. Something that has recently been done, or you're doing it since few days, for the last few days, you know? Making sense now? So it's present perfect, like the causes of airport delays. So the activity is the subject. The second sentence, several researchers, again, we have the activity as a subject. We're not mentioning any particular persons. This one is fine. The causes of airport delays are complex. Airport delays appear to have, present simple. We don't have a time mentioned there. It's not talking about past, so it's.
For the third part, it is also have been.
Yes, have studied. It's not an individual agent. Same.
So when did you use the been, like for the present perfect?
Oh, when we use been? We use been for passive. We understand active and passive?
Yeah.
I'll brush it up a little bit. So let's say we understand the word doer in a sentence. Do we understand the word doer? So the doer could be absent or present. Now this present is not tense. I mean existence. The existence of doer could be absent in a sentence or could be passive, could be present in a sentence. How? So let's say the glass was broken or has just been broken. Make sense? The doer is absent. I don't know who broke the glass. Right? So I cannot say a name. Using someone as a subject is a very vague sentence. It will be. Someone broke it. Now, why you're using someone? We don't need to use someone as a subject in this sentence. You can just directly say the glass is broken, was broken, has been broken, whatever. Yes, please.
Are there cases where it's better to speak of active than passive? Are there cases where it's better to speak?
Thank you for the question. When we should use active and when we should passive, you get there. If I forget to answer that after this, please remind me again. Don't worry, yeah? So let's get to know the structure first. Your question was why you are using have been, because it's passive. Why it's passive? Because we don't have the doer. When the doer is absent, it's passive. When the doer is there, it's active.
So in third case it will be not have been. The been will be here.
No, it won't be. It's the doer is there.
Okay.
Now you got it?
Yeah.
Several researchers have studied.
But there is, in second case it's not.
In second case, the doer is not there because the causes became the subject, so have been studied.
Okay.
Got it? So we got the structure. That's how the structure works. If we know the person's name, you just say, let's say Shams broke the glass. You use active form. But if I'm not there and you don't know who broke it, something is broken, then you would say
If I say someone is
fake sentence.
it's not doer. It doesn't come under doer.
No, that's a, technically I say that's a wrong sentence. That's grammatically correct. You know what I mean? Are you getting the point?
No, I.
Okay, so someone, something, people, these words do not have any meaning, according to me. It's like writing, she is beautiful, he is handsome, doesn't make any sense. It has no concrete meaning. Am I making sense now? You have to define then what is beauty. You have to define what do you mean by people, which age, which country, where do they live in. These are very abstract words. It has no concrete definition. Someone, something, it has no meaning.
But when you say it's grammatically correct, mean someone come under doer.
I mean, grammarly, we've not put a red underline, on the sentence because grammatically it's correct. Technically, AI will not say this is a false sentence, this is an incorrect sentence. You know what I mean? But academically, when we are talking about meaningful sentences, it's not a meaningful sentence. It's better to use passive in this case. So when we use passive, now that's the answer. That's also connected to this question that why that's incorrect. That someone broke the glass. How many situations are there when we use passive? When the doer is unnecessary, then you don't mention it. For example, someone, so what will I do with someone? I don't know who the someone is. If you know the person's name, say it. Saying someone is unnecessary. Make sense? Or maybe I want to hide. Let's assume that I have two bosses, two supervisors, or two seniors in my office. Now one told me to keep this glass here, and another boss came and said, why did you put it here? Right? Then I'm not gonna blame the other boss because he told me to do that. No, that's rude, according to me. So I would say, I was told to do so. I'll not say he or she told me to do so. I'll not put other person's name and blame them. You know what I mean? I'll just hide it. Who told me to do that? I'll just say, either I'll say I'm sorry, or I'll say I was told to do so. Make sense? So when I'm hiding the subject or the doer, that's another situation when we use it. When I don't know. You know, actually this reference is wrong that I gave. Someone broke the glass should be unknown. That would be the best example. Unknown doer, like who broke the glass, you don't know. Best example for unnecessary doer is, let's say someone asking me, so what about your friend, how is he doing? And I said, he was arrested last night. This is a perfect sentence. If I say, police arrested him last night, that's an actually incorrect sentence. Make sense? Unnecessary. Police will do the work. Why do you have to use police as a subject? Who else will arrest? You know what I mean? I'm asked, how is he or she doing? My job is to say now, my response should be about his or her situation, not who arrested, which agent arrested. That doesn't make sense. So it's unnecessary. If you say he was arrested, so you are using past, passive, and this is the subject because this is the question. You have to lead the sentence with the focus area. If you now write, police arrested him, now Grammarly will not say it's wrong, but actually it's very incorrect sentence because as a subject, police is unnecessary here. So if I see the paper, I would say, change your subjects or re-edit them. Make sense? Do you get your answer? Let me think, is there any other situation? Possibly these three. When we hide the subject, when it's unnecessary, when it's unknown. And in order to do really well in tense or active and passive, I always recommend to know the auxiliaries. Auxiliary verbs. How many auxiliaries do we have? Do you know that? How many auxiliaries in English we have? There are 34 auxiliary verbs. And I'm sorry to say that you have to remember these 34 auxiliary verbs. And Grammarly will not point out every time which auxiliary is actually the perfect one. You know what I mean? And there are 4 kinds of auxiliary verbs. Verb to be, verb to do, verb to have, and modal verbs. Verb to be, like, there are 10 verb to be's. Am, is, are, was, were, shall be, will be, being, being. Verb to do, did, does. Verb to have, has, had, having. And modals mean there are 17 modals. 17 modals are should, ought to, would, could, will, can, all these are modals. We have a lecture on grammar, don't worry. I'm not gonna spend more time on 34 auxiliaries and listing them all down. I can share a PDF or something like that if that helps. Okay? The reason I'm saying it's mandatory. Because if you do not know the 34 auxiliary verbs, it's pretty obvious you'll do mistake in grammar and tense. Make sense? And pretty soon, actually, this would be obsolete. We won't need tense and grammar that much. We'll have more AI involvement through Grammarly or ChatGPT or Quillbot. through which you can edit the grammar part. But why we need this course still? Because it's not the grammar that makes your writing beautiful. There is a writing structure. And then we'll get there today and tomorrow. Let's go to today's slide. Are we all here first year students? You might have already said it, but I forgot, just asking. But when we speak in person, I might not forget. Are we all here first year students?
Just
Right? Is there anyone who is here for a long time? No one? It's first year for everyone? Nice, good. So my next question is, how many of you already, you have a topic in your mind that you want to work on? And how many of you do not have any topic in mind? You just have to imagine a topic to get along with this course. That's also okay, but I need to know in person right now. Speak up.
when is the topic mean research topic? Like
Yeah,
lab?
research topic.
Yeah.
Something that you'll use to write your paper. A topic that you're going to use in this course, yeah? You all have, right? Okay, so let me see who might not have a topic. Adidao and forgot your name, I'm sorry. Katie, right? Yeah, Katie. So you have a topic, but modified more, improved more. That's fine, that's also okay. So mostly we have one, very good. So let's get back. The course actually starts from here. Before that, whatever we have done, just to know each other's writing, just for a warm up and so on and so forth. Because this is how we write our paper. What we do, we choose a topic first. Where is it going? Yeah. And then we have our resources, which I personally do it earlier. This second point. You have provided an Excel sheet, correct? Where you have put down your resources. I know we haven't read all our resources yet, but it's just for the structure to maintain and get along with it. So we read our resources and we brainstorm. And we get nearer to our claims or research questions or what I actually want to invent or address. The third task in the pre-writing stage is writing a thesis statement. That's what we'll do today. What is a thesis statement? Anyone? No? No one? A thesis statement is something that we use nowhere. We'll not use it in the introduction, in literature review, in methodology, in data commentary. But you need it before we begin. Reason, we might use it in abstract. Second reason, if you do not have a thesis statement, high chances your outline will be non-cohesive, will be irrelevant, will be chaotic. You'll not be organized in your brain what you want to do step by step unless you generate a thesis statement. Now, when I say a thesis statement, it means your thesis statement will have maximum 2 to 3 sentences. Statement and sentence, let's not confuse with that. A thesis statement means which has 2 to 3 sentences. One sentence could be also a thesis statement. Maximum 3. Now we'll see some samples. What do I mean when we say thesis statement? A thesis statement based on your paper style. Let's say your paper is cause and effect based, could be. Or your paper is explanatory. So we have to identify actually our topic or area. So which field I'm working on. Is it a cause and effect article that I want to write? Is it an explanatory or analytical or argumentative? So we have to identify these categories. And then these are the features, 5 features that we see in a thesis statement. We'll see examples, and we'll try to identify what do I mean by genre, purpose, previewing conclusions, strong claims, and setting up expectations, and all these things in 2 to 3 sentences. So 5 points coming up again. First of all, there should be a genre. What is a genre? You know the word genre? Jazz music, it's a genre. Metallic song, it's a genre. Indian classical music, it's a genre. Make sense? So genre, we have to know what the genre is. Purpose. The purpose should not be missed in the thesis statement. The objective, the aim of this paper is, it should be very clear. So the purpose should be there when you're writing a thesis statement. Conclusion. Previewing as in like a trailer, a teaser of a film. It should preview where will it end. It will not talk about the results. It will not mention the conclusion, but it will give a preview where we are heading towards. Like a GPS system, when you go to Google Map or we call an Uber, you know where you're heading. You might change your routes in between. You might take different paths, but you know where you're heading. That should be previewed in the thesis statement. All good? Strong claim. We might have many claims, but at least the strongest claim should be there, because that would define the purpose. And it by the way, all these are collaborated. These are the points we will see, but not necessarily each 5 points will be in 5 different sentences. You can include all these 5 points in one sentence even. We'll see samples. You set up expectations of the readers. What I'm expecting next. It should be crystal clear. Okay, so I'm expecting this stage. I'm expecting that stage. That's how we construct our thesis statement so that we can develop an outline later on. It's a little tricky. I'm using this. It doesn't point wherever I want to point. Anyway, so after pre-writing, we'll go to the writing stage, which is in tomorrow and next week. So today we'll do this thesis statement. We'll see some samples. We'll try to locate those 5 elements in those samples, and then we'll try to write our own thesis statement. If you have a topic in your mind, based on the samples we'll study today, you have to generate your own thesis statement. In Canvas, you can see a section where you can submit your own thesis statement. We're good? We'll do it together in class. Don't worry. Let's move on. So let's see cause and effect sample. If your writing is a cause and effect, then how the thesis statement might look like. Anyone who would like to read it out loud? Can anyone volunteer? This sample, the example.
Americans have been rapidly becoming more obese. The statistics say for the last 10 years, studies also say that the cause of rising obesity is individual self-control. However, the truth is that Americans' growing waistlines are caused by corporations that covertly add sugar to make food addictive. Technology which has made people less active and more time to their work, and 2 large portion sizes in restaurants which have ingrained overeating into our habits.
Thank you so much. Namdi, right? Awesome. Thank you, Namdi. So here we see that the orange colored part is topic, not my comment. So a thesis statement consists of topic plus comment. Right? So when you're saying thesis statement, it will have those 5 features that I just mentioned: genre, purpose, setting up expectations, preview, conclusions. Thesis statement will have a topic and your comment. That's why I was just practicing with all of you these days. When you're summarizing, that's the topic. And if you add your comment with it, if you include that, then how it should look like or how it can look like. That was the purpose of the first day task as well. And we see here, we have the comment. And the comment is very precise. So we are not talking about obesity or those statistics in the last 10 years. Rather, it's straight to the point. Corporations add sugar to make food more addictive, and that's how it's causing obesity. So it's a cause and effect paper. We got it. We are expecting what we'll get in the next chapters of this paper, because the focus area is fixed. We have a comment here. Make sense? It's 2 sentences we have here, and in these 2 sentences, we have the features of thesis statement. Any confusion so far? Good. The next sample, a very simple example I picked up. Expository or explanatory, if your paper is. So let's say, what's the topic and what's the comment? This is a topic. The life of a typical college student. That's a topic. Comment is, now, how will you define the word college student? A typical college student who spends time in studying, who attends class, and who socializes with peers. So that's a comment. So you're explaining or defining something. That's explanatory or expository. That's a category. We understand now what do I mean by expository or explanatory? Yeah, when you're explaining something, when you're exposing a definition. That could be a paper as well, not this simple topic. I mean, this is a very silly example, I know. The next, analytical. When you're doing some analysis, we have few classes later on when we talk about the structure and the theoretical model of analysis. When we say analysis, is it inductive, is it deductive? And what is inductive, what is deductive? Perhaps you all have done already, but I'll brush it up more from a theoretical linguistic perspective. Let's read out this example. Someone else would like to read it out loud, except Namdi, he already read.
A study of the college admission process reveals one challenge facing counselors: accepting students with high test scores or students with strong extracurricular backgrounds.
Yeah, so there is a subtle difference, or sometimes it might collab your paper. Let's say analytical and argumentative. Your analysis could be argumentative also. For instance, this one is analytical, but it is argumentative also. You know, so who is a brilliant student who has good mark sheet transcripts, or who has a good background and experience and all that, you know, in extracurricular activities, in sports, and so on and so forth, or in job life or work life. So that's so how should we make the balance? This is the analysis that you're doing. So it's based on the certain data, right? Make sense? And it is argumentative as well, by the way, because it's a huge argument. Some might say we should go with the transcript. Some might say we should go with the experience. So that's the argument, but depends on the next chapters of the paper. So that's analytical when you're analyzing past data. Argumentative, for instance, this is a pure argumentative, and it has a very strong claim. That's why it's superbly argumentative. I didn't put it in the analytical category. Someone else would like to read it out loud? No one is interested.
High school graduates should be required to take a year off to pursue community service projects before entering college in order to increase their maturity and global awareness.
Thank you. So we have a topic, high school graduates. And what's the strong claim? The author is saying they should take a year off before entering in college or university. Why? Because they, in a way, it's saying that they're immature to decide what subject they like. They need the real world experience first, and then they should know, oh, I'm good in painting, music, science, engineering, robotics, whatever. That's what it is proposing. And to have a real world life, do some voluntary work, or have some global awareness. It's also providing the logic in this one simple sentence. So this sentence will help you design your whole chapters in the whole paper. Because now you know the first chapter should be, I should talk about reasoning this, what is community project, how it benefits. So I'm getting, as a reader, these expectations that you'll explain how it will benefit, these points will benefit a high school graduate before selecting his or her bachelor's or master's degree, whatever, you know? So I'm having these expectations. In the paper, before we move into writing the thesis statement, just giving you some heads up where we place the thesis statement. So we have this structure. And this is called, the first structure is called, which is tomorrow's class, G2S, general to specific. That's why the design is reverse pyramid. Kind of like that. So your paper starts with a general statement, right? We did an example yesterday also, the instructor's comment and the feedback, that task particularly. So that's the, let's say, introduction or literature review section. Lit review. So it looks like this. It's narrowing down. When you're narrowing down in between the method and result section, where you have your data, graphs, lab experiments, whatever resources you're using. The discussion, again, it's the opposite. I would say it's S2G, specific to general. Right? For example, the last task we did, in the end, we discussed it in the class also. It became a very general, how in future, what things should be studied. In future, what are the limitations of this, whatever we mentioned here, and in future, where else this topic can contribute, can play an effective role, right? So it's specific to general, then again, general to specific. That's the basic structure of writing. We'll get there. So in the next few classes, our task is to study all these chapters, okay? Next week, we'll do this, then this, then this, and this. That's the purpose. And today, we'll do thesis statement so that we can organize our structure properly. If we do not know our thesis statement, we'll do some huge follies. We might in those division when we're sectorizing our whole paper. Let's get back to Canvas. The first task is, you don't have to write your thesis statement right now. The first task is, have a look at this thesis statement. Analyze it, not alone, with your friends. Form a group. Each table can have 1 or 2 groups, that's fine. 3 members, or 2 members also good, no worries. And then discuss. This thesis statement has these 5 points or not. And if it has, where? After reading this thesis statement, you'll discuss with your peers, what's the genre? Okay, got it, this is the genre. What's the purpose of this thesis statement? This phrase says that this is the purpose of this thesis statement. Where does it preview conclusion? Here it previews conclusion. What kind of expectations it is setting up, and where do we find that? This sentence, this phrase, or this particular area mentioning whatever the readers will be expecting. Make sense what I'm saying? So we'll try to locate these 5 points in this thesis statement. And if this thesis statement does not have any points, you have to mention that as well. That I think that this thesis statement do not have a strong claim. The claim is missing. That's also okay. All good? And do not perform this task alone. Share with your peers, then we'll discuss it all together.
Can you explain more in the expectations? What does that mean?
Can I explain that with this example? Once you finish reading this, that'll be better. That'll be too helpful for you. Before you respond to me, I'll respond to you. That's what I'm saying. I'll answer your question once you finish reading this and before you start responding to the whole class. In between, I'll explain what kind of expectation I mean.
You have to write it, right?
You have to write? Yes. It's a kind of like yesterday's discussion section here. You can reply. And when you'll be writing this way. Otherwise, I see people writing in various ways. So you should write like this. Purpose, claim, genre, and then you don't have to write a whole paragraph, sentence, nothing. Just write a few phrases that you think the genre is. One word is enough. Now let me know. Can I ask you? Yeah. Are you done reading? Let me know, because I'll explain what do I mean when I say expectations. Done reading? Cool. So let's make a column for clarity. I should use red and green. Everything has a binary opposition, like what I'm expecting and what I'm not expecting. That also makes sense, right? So that I do not include in my own thesis statement something that will misguide readers. They might be expecting, but I didn't, or the other way around. So what I'm not expecting the history of locavore movement. I'm just writing the short form, LM. Or how it gained popularity in the United States over the past several years. That's I'm not expecting. The 10 years history. Make sense now? So what I'm expecting? I'm expecting a stronger argument with comparison or comparative analysis of with what? With this. Home gardening versus the corporate food industry. That's what I'm expecting. That comparative analysis I'm expecting. And I'm expecting home gardening will win with that comparison. How will it win? I'm expecting, first point, economic benefit, nutritional. So I'm expecting all this data, right? Economic benefit and then nutritional benefit. It's connected to global economy, also local economy, like less expensive. So economy will branch out like now with 2 points, local and global. When we talk about nutrition, then it will branch out as well. It has many other sides. So these are the basic expectations I'm having. This paper will provide me the chart, the evidence, how economically home gardening is better than corporate industry foods. Elin, could I answer your question? Now make sense? Yeah? Anyone has any question or confusion? You can have more expectations. I'm not saying these are the only two expectations. But you got the definition when I say setting up expectations. Please?
So today's slide, some access.
Oops. Thank you for letting me know. No one told me. I should. But it says anyone who can read it. Do you guys can access the this one?
didn't show up in this
It's not-
module.
It's not there.
Okay, I'll get there. Don't worry. I don't know why. So you logged in with your Notre ID, right? All of you? Can you access now? Can you guys access now? The slide?
So there is no check mark.
Oops, I didn't publish. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, now you can access it. Could you? Awesome. You can submit whenever you are done with discussing with your peers. I have a question. So when you all are commenting here, you all can see each other's comments?
After research.
Yeah, after survey.
Yes, after.
After submitting, definitely you comment. So we had a talk on this yesterday. Yeah, that we cannot see when someone is typing. Yeah.
The genre is that the four options, right? The cause, effect, or explanatory, analytical.
Right, right. Let me be specific. I mean, the genre includes the topic also. Genre is not only, it's a cause and effect genre. Not only that, what are we talking about? That's also genre. As a topic, like let's say we're talking about cinema, then which kind of cinema? Okay, so it's kind of like, which style? So it includes both words. The style, like cause and effect, expository, and also the topic. The topic is, let's say, food economy, or here we have this topic. Make sense? For example, let me just mention, I'm expecting here analytical and argumentative both. This genre. Talking about a food comparative analysis, home gardening versus corporate produced or consumed foods. It could be analytical and argumentative as well. We don't have to take the whole sentence because it might be, oh yes, you're not writing anything of your own. That's what you mean? Yes, correct. You are taking it from there. Exactly identifying what we have here. We will not write anything of our own. We will not explain the genre is this. We'll say, where do we get that? That they have mentioned this. What gives you the feeling that this is the claim? What gives you the feeling that this is the purpose of this paper? So you're picking up the exact phrase from the thesis statement. You're not writing anything. Confusion question? you have any question?
So what is the difference between the purpose and the previewing conclusion?
It overlaps. I also said that while, yeah, right you are. So it will overlap. But there is a difference. Now let's say, what's the purpose here? Let's say, what purpose do you think you found?
The author aim to do something or to suggest something.
Let's be specific in this particular few sentences, 2 or 3 sentences. So what purpose we get?
I think the LM support is to increase the health and support the local economy.
Okay. So we are getting the purpose or objective or aim. Changes to how people eat, right? That's the main section, the discussion. Changes how people eat. The discussion is not how through robotics they will promote their economy. The discussion is how people eat, and that can change life, economy, health, whatever, right? So the discussion is how people eat. Please.
So is the purpose of
This is not the purpose, but go on.
is it the purpose of the subject or the purpose of the paper?
The purpose of the paper.
If it's the purpose of the paper, then the purpose here should be the author wants to argue the pros of home gardening.
Correct.
Instead
So-
of the purpose of the home gardening foods itself, right?
Come again?
It's not the purpose of the LM, it's the purpose of this paper.
Right. So the purpose of LM, the local war movement, is the purpose of this paper.
Yeah, so the purpose should not be to promote the economy or promote global ecology, but the purpose is to argue the benefits.
Correct. The pros. So we can see here the conclusion that is previewing who will win the argument. That's the purpose. So that's how these two are connected. Who will win the argument? Home gardening food versus the incorporated products or foods that is available in Martin's near to your place.
Isn't that the claim?
Yes, that's also the claim. So it's all are connected, all these 5 features. But sometimes it might not. In this particular thesis statement, all are connected. But it might not be in your case, in your paper. So I always separate all of these 5 features. If you do not have all these 5 features in all together, they should be there even if you separate them. Make sense? But in this case, it will overlap. Right. So we know the benefits or the pros. We don't know it, we're expecting that this will be explained in the whole paper. Make sense? Your question? How home gardening foods will provide that benefit, economic and health. That's what we are expecting. What's your question? Good? Did you get that?
Yeah.
Any confusion? Now these 5 are connected here. That's the confusion. The claim is connected to the purpose is connected to the conclusion that is being previewed. That's true. Here it overlaps. What's your question?
What's the difference between the claim and conclusion?
Ah, very nice. Thank you. Now, to address this particular example and to convince you, I'll go to the example that we did yesterday, because if I give this example, it will overlap. So just to make the definitions clear, claim and conclusion. The task that we did yesterday about unpleasant sound, page, do you remember? 223 in the book, so it will be maybe 230 something. Yeah. Pleasure. So now we'll see the difference possibly. It has a different conclusion than the claim. After the feedback, when the author edited or re-edited, this is the one we did yesterday, right? After reading this, we can come back to the discussion again. That do we find any difference, claim and conclusion? You find a difference?
So this paper, this paragraph kind of, the claim is more specific than conclusion. Is the claim kind of, it has several claims about each paper.
And now the conclusion is ambiguity for that particular topic. It's ambiguous. More research is needed. That kind of conclusion is previewed. But the claim is everyone is using this sound, analyzing this sound, why it's unpleasant, and why everyone is using the same kind of pattern. And to everyone, this kind of environmental or acoustic sounds are unpleasant. Right?
So there could be several claims, but only one conclusion.
Correct. It really varies from paper to paper. Now, what you just said, it depends, that's because only of that example. It has several claims, but it has only one conclusion. So it varies. When we see that example, response was different. When I took this example now, the response is different. Make sense? But whenever we write, we have to keep it in mind, these 5 points. You had a question? Please. Correct. Because in thesis statement, we might not have the conclusion, but it will hint where we are heading towards. We will not have the conclusion, but we have the hint where it's going.
So this both represents this and that to prove the claim.
Come again?
So the claim is this and this data use this and that to prove this claim. That's the conclusion.
Now, how will you get there?
So
That we do not have in the thesis statement. How will you get to that claim? That we do not have. We can guess on it. The sentence, the thesis statement can preview that, but will not mention it. But you can preview it. It's not reasoning. Now, what you just said is called reasoning. There's a difference between reasoning and how will I get there. How will I get there as in how will I get to my claim? How will I establish my claim? Through this and that, that's reasoning, what you said. That's not the way I'll get there. Could be. If you do not have any conclusion statement, you can say that. It doesn't have any conclusion statement.
And claim and conclusion can be similar.
Can overlap. 5 of them can overlap. The purpose can overlap with conclusion and claim. That's also. Except genre will be separate, obviously. Yeah.
Why do we add previewing from conclusion?
Because the conclusion might not be mentioned in this statement. And mostly it is not mentioned. Mostly.
So it's like-
That's why I said the hint.
But what's,
That's why preview.
so can you
Go ahead.
tell us really meaningful from that? And that's okay.
Sorry, come again.
The conclusion that meaningful from what is given.
Correct. So it's actually, you are inferring it. Right, you are. What question do you have?
Can you give the preliminary conclusion for this example?
Sure. That's what we're doing for. I mean, after everyone is done, that's what we do. What? And that's what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I'll give an example from this example. Did I say something wrong?
So my question now is, what's the difference between previewing conclusion
And conclusion.
and expectations? Because the conclusion may not be stated here, you may maybe hint.
Correct.
And expectations are also hints
Okay,
given to the.
I got your point. Yeah, I got the question. Let me answer that. So when I say expectations, it's really fine to have these confusions in class. That's what we're here for, right? So don't get anxious or don't be worried. First expectation is what conclusion I'm expecting. But that's not the only conclusion, the only point I'm expecting. There could be 2, 3, 4, 5 more expectations. This could be a part or a little part of the expectation. This is not the only expectation I'm having when I read a thesis statement. Or let's say you submitted an Excel sheet where you have listed down a few scholarly articles, right? Now, why you picked that particular scholarly article? Is it because of the conclusion that the scholarly article has? Not really, it could be something else even. Your expectations on those scholarly articles or resources that you're using, you know only that what you're expecting from that 10 list, the 10 list that you have provided. Could be the conclusion, not necessarily the conclusion is the only expectation I'm having when I read a paper. Make sense? You might need something else, you're expecting something else. It might have other data as well. There could be a huge list what you're expecting. But yes, conclusion is part of it.
So expectation means reader's expectations.
Correct.
Before reading or when.
Correct.
in the
Very
middle
good.
of
Thank you.
reading.
You made it
Not
very good.
after reading.
Right. Before you read the paper, and when you read the abstract where we include thesis statement, you don't know. You're expecting this will be in the paper, but you haven't read the paper yet. Make sense? When you read the paper, you don't have any expectations because you already read it and it's all there.
They should put it at first, not in the last.
Right? Sure, I'll do that. Yeah. Now is it clear?
So the purpose of having expectations in our thesis statement is to set a foundation for readers
Correct.
continuing reading our paper.
Correct.
Okay.
Let me get to the first slide of today's class for your clarity. I forgot your name. Jiao. So, let me share. Tell me where we are now. In this map, where we are now.
First step.
We are here, right? We haven't developed an outline yet. We haven't developed our introduction, literature review, conclusion, anything yet. So now we are here. We can only create expectations, what we have there as a reader, that I will have. You're writing it for me, for your supervisor, for your readers. Make sense why we're writing a thesis statement? Make sense what I mean by expectations? Based on these expectations, we have to develop next day this. We cannot develop an outline without having expectations in the thesis statement. Because we'll not include anything else which is not expected in the thesis statement. Will not go out of our track.
Well, now we are talking about from point of view of writer, not reader.
Yes, as a writer, you have to keep it in mind. What kind of expectations?
Then I establish an outline and continue writing. Right.
Yes, and so that you can continue with your writing with a proper diagram, you better have in mind, because you're writing for readers, you're not writing a diary.
Expectation may deviate from writer's expectation.
Certainly. It will vary from person to person. But now we are talking about when you write, I will read it. Right? I'll give you feedback. And then based on this expectation, I'll guide you the next chapters when you'll be submitting and writing. So that's why it's important. I need to know what I'm expecting actually. Please go ahead.
So this thesis statement is not really going into the paper.
We do not include thesis statements anywhere here, except abstract.
So who will read it?
Except abstract.
Oh.
We include this when we have the abstract class. I'll use the same thesis statement in abstract because there you also set up expectations before you submit or present in a conference. You submit your paper to editors. So your editors in the preview stage, the committee will not read the whole paper. We'll read the abstract first. And then we'll send you an invitation to present your paper in the conference. That's how you set up expectations. Make sense? Yeah, please.
So let's say that the expectations are the things that we need to prove, right? So in our case will be our experience because we have like the purpose, blah blah blah, right? And then the expectation is, well, how are you gonna prove that your hypothesis is correct?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So let's say sometimes in many disciplines, or perhaps in all disciplines, we do not complete the paper even before presenting in a conference. We might be on process of writing a paper. Right? So then you only have hypothesis. Then you actually haven't conducted the whole experiment and you don't have all the exact data because you haven't completed, but you're presenting in many conferences and getting feedback. We present in conference so that we can get feedback, and based on the feedback of those professors, we edit our methodology or discussion chapters. So they need to expect something. Otherwise, why will they send you an invitation to present the paper? And they'll cross-check the expectations are meeting or not. What I expected after reading the abstract and what I'm getting when you're presenting in front of me. So these expectations are matching or not. If it doesn't match, they'll give you corrections. That's fine. They'll say that I expected that after reading your abstract, but now when I hear you, I'm getting something else. So they will give you suggestions that how will you develop your paper so that my expectations, I mean that committee particularly where you submitted your paper, are matching with your presentation or not. Make sense? Yeah? Any question?
Yeah, so can you explain again what is the difference between the expectation and conclusion?
Come again?
So what is the difference between the conclusion and the expectation? Because the expectation is from the writer side, right?
Expectations and conclusions.
Yeah.
The difference between expectations and
Conclusion.
conclusion.
Reading conclusion.
Reviewing conclusions. Gotcha. So let me show you some videos. So for example, this is not the whole paper, right? This is just a part of it, a little part. You remember we did it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after reading, you don't have to read it the whole thing right now. Just from here, a few sentences. Right? So what do you think the difference? You tell me now what expectations is reviewing or what conclusions. Whatever what you ask me, you get a difference there.
The expectation is from the writer side, right? From the writer expectation.
Now, I do not prefer these two sides to be different. The authors and writers' mind should not be a collision, should not be a war, should merge. Because your readers are not mass readers, your readers are your professors. You are in the academia. You're not writing a fiction, Harry Potter. You're writing for supervisors. Your papers will only be read by your editors, who will give you corrections, who will say rejected, who will say approved and accepted. Make sense?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
not mass
it's
audience.
like a more broader of reviewing conclusion.
Sorry?
It's like a broader version of reviewing conclusion.
Yes, there could be a broader version of a previewing conclusion.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, here we have a very broader version of a previewing conclusion, the article sample you have in your hand.
Yeah.
Then that is, we need more research on that. That's the conclusion in this previewing.
Can you see that?
Last sentence, read that. That's the conclusion we have. That we do not have proper research on this, we need more research on this. Right?
Yes.
So here the conclusion is different.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you make sense? Do you have
Yeah.
Now, whenever I say readers, do not get confused with the mass audience. Your readers might be only your supervisor who is funding you. So that's important. Make sense? Yeah, your reader is the most important thing in your whole PhD life because your reader is your supervisor. Even when we submit for conferences, our readers are 5 to 10 people in the committee of that journal. And all are professors of that particular specific expert field. So they know what you're working on. They are from your discipline, right? Are we done? And if you do not have a topic, that's okay. Just imagine a topic right now and create a thesis statement so that we can work on it as a sample. Make sense? And if you need help creating a topic, you can personally email me later on. I can help you in email creating a topic. If I know your field and interest, what you want to do, I can help with that, yeah? Now, once you're done with that, I'll give you feedback later on in Canvas. We need to do this as well. Otherwise, I cannot proceed in the next classes as well. Tomorrow and the next week. Because I need the thesis statement of yours. Now you gotta write your own. Yes. And it's fine, let it be. I'm not expecting anything flawless. There could be plenty of flaws, that's fine. But generate 1 or 2 sentences on your topic with a comment. Let it be very easy. So you have a topic in mind. Plus you have a comment. I'm just expecting these 2 things. And if you do not have all those 5 features that we just discussed, that's okay. When I'll give you feedback, I'll tell you this is missing, that is missing, or I didn't understand this part or that part. We can have a conversation and thereby we can generate or edit, re-edit a proper thesis statement later on by tomorrow. Now, you will at least write a topic and a comment, and within this topic and comment, we have those 5 features, and that's fine if a few of those features are missing. Make sense what I'm saying? I'm not saying your thesis statement must include right now all those 5 features. Just give me the topic and write a comment, then we'll have a better idea because I'll give you a feedback that in this topic and in this comment, the claim is missing. The claim could be this and that. Then we can have a discussion and we'll get that claim.
Please, a question like when we say like our thesis, like of the research is this is, so can we write it like this? What we are trying to do,
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah. So let's say you can start with the purpose statement like,
But like
the paper aims, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the aim of the paper
yeah,
is.
but like as you said, like it also depends on the audience. So if we are introducing some terms which audience doesn't understand, should we explain that?
Not now. Not in thesis statement. We don't explain the topic in the thesis statement.
But
That we do
if
in...
we can give in a 1 line a little, like what, so we can do.
So let's say in this sample,
In
they
this-
didn't mention the locavore movement history.
But
But they mentioned a few phrases
Yeah,
that
that's
in the
what-
past 10 years, United States,
Yeah.
in the United States, this is the situation of locavore movement. So it was not a full sentence even. It was a clause in the beginning. Yeah, you can do that. So now I'm expecting a topic and a comment. In this section, you'll submit. And if you do not have one, email me after the class. That you do not have a topic, you're thinking about it. That's okay. Good?
So, do we consider this as a broader aspect or specific to the work?
the topic. So it's like in a broader perspective or too specific. Okay, this is I am gonna work. These are the materials. Like that.
It depends on what you're working on. You're working on something broader?
No.
Then why?
Okay.
You will only write what you're working on. You won't write what I want. You'll write what you want to do. You know? So that's the purpose. Because based on this, we'll develop the outline. Then we'll go to the introduction chapter. Then we'll move to the methodology. But these are all connected. You'll not just generate one thing. It is connected to the Excel sheet that you provided. You already provided a resource materials. So I'm expecting those are your resources. Based on those resources, you generated a topic and a comment. It should not be like the topic is something else and you provided me PDFs or something in the Excel sheet, the list is something else. Make sense?
Yeah, so right now we are submitting in here, right?
Correct.
But you said like we can right now we are just submitting topic and comment. It's not the full thesis statement.
It will be the full thesis statement when I'll give you feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it's perfect, then I don't have to give feedback. I'll just say super. Yeah. Make sense? Any question, query? Yes.
I need help.
Sure, please go ahead.
So like in my research it's theoretical, so it's mainly like we are trying to understand something. So should I mention like that something and then I say what is this or something like that? Or I can start with okay, trying to understand this. It can go like that. So there is a process we are trying to understand how it happened. So can I mention the process and then say what is this process and what we are trying to like how we are trying
But
to
everything should be in 2 to 3 sentences.
Uh-huh.
You cannot cross that limit.
So, but I can start with like trying to understand something like that.
Oh, you mean the verbal expression?
Yeah. Or understanding. Oh, it can go like that, right?
Why don't you write what you want to understand as a subject?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That can be taught.
Rather than understanding as a subject of the sentence, why don't you write the subject as the subject?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need any help? Thinking? Sure. Are we done? Don't overthink that your topic and comment has those 5 features or not. Just get it done, then we'll discuss later. All good? We are almost out of time. So let's wrap it up today. Thank you so much. If you haven't submitted yet, please do it in an hour or so. And tomorrow, let's just continue from here. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you look this? Okay. So I have.
Can I look?
Yeah. So I have a line. So do I have to make comment on this? It can be just.
You mean it's a complete sentence? It's not a complete sentence. Yeah, I mean the line is fine. Change in chemical kinetics of reaction, locality due to proton, and then
Like this is we're trying to understand like why, like what made change in chemical kinetics of reaction. Like,
yeah, this is the topic.
no.
But thesis statement should be complete 2-3 sentences.
Okay. So I can make comment like why it is
Yeah.
important or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the sample we did. So I mean, complete proper sentences. Yeah. See you tomorrow, everyone.